Teacher knowledge and behavior is the component of the model that focuses on teachers' knowledge of students and content and on their expertise in classroom management and pedagogy. Teacher knowledge is the element of teacher knowledge and behavior that encompasses knowledge of student characteristics and teachers' in-depth content knowledge and the blending of these to enhance learning. More information on this can be found in the Technology as Facilitator of Quality Education model. Students at 3 different high schools are participating in a Black Studies course via the Iowa Communications Network. The Iowa Communications Network allows the students at all 3 sites to interact with each other and with the instructor. The instructor's transformation of course concepts demonstrates a component of teachers' in-depth content knowledge. Here he uses an analogy to connect the topic of discussion to the students' daily lives. This makes the topic more accessible to the students.
Did you ever watch Days of Our Lives?
Yeah.
Okay, and now they usually have a lady named Hope or Rachel, and Hope or Rachel always, something happens, they get hit in the head, and they forget who they are, right? And when they forget who they are, when they come to, what happens? What do they spend a long time trying to do? Jump in, Miss Hill. Or you like soaps too?
They always trying to figure out what happened to them when they lost their memory.
Okay, so if Hope was a billionaire when she lost her memory, and then she comes to and people tell her, oh no, you were broke. Okay, if Hope was a student at Harvard, 4.0, she comes to and says, oh no, you dropped out in 3rd grade. How is she going? Is she going to act differently? So basically, somebody can redefine her reality for her.
The teacher shows knowledge of student characteristics by taking his students' emotionality into account. The instructor taps his students' inner motivation by discussing stereotypes that affect everyone in the course. He encourages the students not just to talk about the problem, but also to develop solutions.
You can suggest some answers, solutions, some direction to help Black students in particular, all students in general, get rid of this myth of being Black is acting white. Okay. And then obviously to be Black then should mean, based on the myth, that you wouldn't do well in school. Now, I know Ms. Chambers, you mentioned you've had to deal with this issue before. Mr. Clark has mentioned he's had to deal with it before. Ms. Horton has mentioned that. I'm sure some students at East. And now even though Moravia is 100% white, and especially in our class, they do have to still wrestle with popularity and being smart. Now we just found out there's some different stereotypes and nicknames that would be given to white students who don't do well in school. But what would you think should start to happen? And again, power, the ability to define reality. Share with me for a few minutes what you think should happen.
The teacher's in-depth content knowledge is evident in his method of instruction. As the discussion continues, the teacher uses questioning both to check for understanding and to encourage his students to think critically about the media's role in perpetuating racial stereotypes. His questions also allow him to guide the discussion and help the students integrate information and concepts they have talked about in previous lessons.
Ms. Chambers, you were going to say something?
I think the media could help by showing us in different roles instead of just music stars or basketball or athletes and stuff.
Okay. The media could help by changing the roles that they show. Now, how do they determine what shows to leave on the air?
The ratings. The ratings.
Okay. Now, what do you mean by ratings? And other people can jump in. I know people watch TV in Moravia too. How do they determine, what does ratings mean?
The most people that look at a show?
Yeah, the number of people who look at a show. Now, if there are shows on that don't give a good image and you watch that show, are the ratings up or down?
They don't go by.
Yeah, Ms. Parsons, when you're watching TV, can they tell if you're watching it because you believe it?
No.
They're just counting the number of people watching. So what would happen if people didn't watch the shows that had a negative image of black people?
That a negative image?
They stop watching it.
What would happen to the show?
It'll get cut off.
The show would end up off the air.
The teacher shows knowledge of student characteristics by addressing his students' interpersonal intelligence. He encourages his students to engage in a dialogue about race relations in order to understand each other better. Throughout the course, the students have expressed and discussed their opinions.
And what can you do to get rid of those stereotypes?
Well, we know like a lot of the stereotypes are true because there's too many blondes, you know, in power and stuff. So, I mean.
So you're saying then that it's not true that blondes are not smart, that there are blondes in powerful positions and who do things that say, I'm intellectually strong, so then it takes away the stereotype. Okay. So then does that mean that when black people are successful in school, that it takes away the stereotype?
Yeah, it might. It might, like a white person who's thinking that, you know, all blacks are dumb or something, it might help take that stereotype away if they meet someone who is smart. They meet a black who is smart.
What I think about the whole issue about whether it's true about like black students or whatever and white students
Act or thinking or acting like white or black or whatever. I mean, if you say something for so long, then people will start believing it. But then until people step up and prove that what that person said was wrong, then that's only when they're going to start believing that that's not true. Like you said, like they say blonde heads are dumb or something like that. And I mean, and like blonde haired girls should step up and say, hey, we're not dumb, and show people that they, you know, that stereotype is wrong. As soon as we can blot out all the stereotypes that people put into the world today, then that's the only time that won't nobody believe it anymore.
Okay.
The teacher again displays knowledge of student characteristics when he asks the students to describe preconceptions they had about African Americans at the beginning of the semester and how their views have changed. The students use their intrapersonal intelligence as they struggle to understand themselves and communicate their feelings.
The students at Moravia, have any of the stereotypes that you originally may have had about black students changed having been in the class?
I don't think many of us here really had any assumptions about black people. We came into the class to learn because we didn't know. But now we do know a lot of stuff, and it's a lot different than what a lot of people around here might think we think.
Is it possible that the group that chose to take black studies, that you already have a sensitivity, a cultural sensitivity that says you don't accept the negative stereotypes, and even though you are a representative of your school, you may be the more culturally sensitive of your student population?
Yeah, you can say that.
Okay, so then you become like the leaders that have to go back into your school, and when you hear stereotypes, either correct people or do something to let them know that you don't agree with that. Now, do you think black people have a responsibility to do the same thing with other black people if they use stereotypes against white people?
If that's what they feel, they should.
Okay. And I heard somebody here at West going, but they weren't on the mic. You agree?
Yeah, I agree.